Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LFA Chopshop. It's been a while since we had a chat and I showed you what's been going on. So let's do that. So we'll start off at the front gate. I'm still dailying the truck for another month or so. I reversed into the gate and broke this board this afternoon. That sucked. And then there's a mess. So this is the Mini that you would have seen last week. So this thing is still for sale. I just finished filming last week's episode 10 minutes ago. So it's super cool, super fast, really. Like it's 200 horsepower and it weighs probably a ton. So it's nice and fun, nice and zippy. And then we've got the Camry, my trailer, with some stuff in it. That's just sitting in hibernation. Tried to start it the other day and it spat water everywhere. So we've got the High Ace, which needs a turbo. And it's got my cousin's trailer in the back, which I'm storing for them. And then we've got my cousin's car and another trailer and a buggy, which are all my cousins. So he passed away, unfortunately, and I have to store some stuff until all the legal stuff's sorted out. So then I have some rubbish which I need to sort through. Set of patrol wheels if anyone wants any. And then this section of the yard looks really good until here. So the plan is these are going to be the shelves in this shed over here for the crown. So I can put the crown parts away. And then this stuff I need to sort through and move that floor, and there's a pile of firewood and stuff in there. So that's all currently just storage, but it will be nice and neat nice and soon. And then all this stuff's pretty neat here. So there's a car in there that I can't show you. You'll see it about Christmas time, but I can't show you right now. So this is all more stuff that I've collected. That bay needs to get sorted out, which I'll hopefully do this afternoon. Got 2 engine cranes now. So a good friend of mine passed away and he left me all of his workshop tools. So I got so much stuff, including an engine crane. Behind here is full. It's actually pretty tidy, really. So I've got a few CRV parts left to sell, a few windows, a spare toy waste diff because we all know I'm going to need that, and then the service tray off the truck. So this is coming out soon. I'm going to go on the truck when it runs out of rego at the end of October. So I'll probably start that early December, I reckon. We've got the CRV and the Secret Project on top of that. So they are going to go around the back of here once that service box is out of there. I'll put the CRV around the corner, and I'll also put the front half of the Accord that I got the other week on top of the CRV and jam it all around the corner. We've got the Leyland, we've got the K25 still hiding away. So this, like I said, this bay really needs a clean because there's just mess and leaves and stuff everywhere. This is the corrugated iron I'm going to use for the gate that's going to go there. So I can't throw any of that away. And then we've got the sleepers for the garden beds. So I need to get onto that as well. Big set of 15 by 10 inch unwelded Commodore Steelies. So they can be any offset you want. So that's pretty cool. And then let's go into the shed and see what's changed. So you might notice these boxes are not in their normal spot because when I inherited a bunch of stuff from my mate's workshop, it came with a bunch of machinery. So there's 2 different tube benders. This one's outside, it's actually in the doorway. And then I got a different press, so I sold mine to another good mate. But my friend that passed away, Pete, he built this, so I'm keeping that one. It might not be as good, or it might be better, but regardless, Pete made it, so I'm keeping it. That's just how it works. He has gifted me his lathe, which is amazing. Horrible circumstances to get a lathe, but I'm super keen to get one. So I haven't tried it out yet. I did use this a bunch at his house, but it's now here, so I'll have to set it up and level it and all that sort of stuff. 2 bench grinders, which is excellent, wire wheel and a belt, which is cool. Then a parts washer with a big drum and a filter, which is pretty cool. So I need to set that up as well. Then we've got my metal folder, which was here before. Then this filing cabinet is full of tools as well. Most of that was my stuff originally. And then coming around to the front here, there's a whole another filing cabinet full of stuff. And I'm talking like big sockets, like heaps of them. And then I don't even know what's in this one. That's mostly my stuff from the past. And then this is like all your harmonic balancers and spring compressors and any kind of clampy, grabby, slide hammers, press tools, all that sort of stuff. And then the bottom one is just car wash stuff. Then I've got Pete's toolbox, which I'm pretty happy about. Given the circumstances, it's nice to have something that he used every day. It's a good memory of him, which I'm super happy about. And Jackson and I went through my toolboxes, his toolboxes. We put everything together. So all of this is labelled, but again, there's just so much stuff. That's just the Imperial spanners under 3/4, or 3/4 and under. Metric spanners under 19, 19 and under. Just silly stuff like ratchets. That's the spare ratchets. Like, there's just so much stuff. And just pliers. How many sets of pliers does one man need? This is too many. Big spanners, flatheads, Phillips heads. It's just silly. And then this set is still my tools, obviously, so I've been able to thin the herd a little bit. And I've got, well, that drawer's probably the most full one. That's full of Allen keys. We've got picks, we've got Clecos, which are now in their own drawer, which is nice. Side cutters, Allen AN wrenches. That's just razor blades, easy outs, just heaps of stuff. So pretty cool to be able to get all my tools organised. Obviously horrible circumstances, like I said, but it is nice to have a piece of Pete's history being this toolbox. And a bunch of little trinkets like this little silly sign that he had in his shed. Just a bunch of little stuff like that. So that's where I'm at. There's just a lot going on. A lot of this is probably going to go in a second toolbox or a 10th toolbox and just get put aside. So it's nice to have it, but there's just a lot of stuff going on. Now I'll show you what's behind me, but I need to be careful how I film it. Okay, so that's about as far as I can go to my right. So if you can see that just there, I wonder what it is. I'll cut to that footage now. It's an exciting evening. I just picked up a bunch of laser cutting. Can you tell what it is yet? What about now? Can you tell what it is now? Also, Aiden's here.
Hi, friend.
So that's a pretty cool addition to the shed. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. I'd like to put some of it outside and some of it inside. So I've got this side and then I've got the cutout sections, which I was going to make into a sign as well. So I'll end up with 2 signs, which is pretty cool. Then we've got the Accord engine, subframe, some of the chassis rails and stuff, the radiator. You can see the car that you're going to see about Christmas time there. And then just more chain blocks, like 3 chain blocks in his shed. It's just a lot of stuff. And then another huge addition to the shed is this big banner. So underneath is the car that I can't show you, but this banner is like 4 meters wide and 2 meters tall. So super cool. Thank you very much to Croft for sorting that out for me. Super happy with it, and it's going to look good in the background of some footage. Then I've tarped off the outsides of the shed. So that's where my shelving is, obviously. All of that's been tarped off. It just looks a bit nicer on camera. Then I've tarped off the bay that I don't use as well, so it keeps the dust out. And whilst I'm talking about it, this is the bay that I don't use. So it's still full of cool room panels from my cousin. And then I've also got a whole bunch of molds for a car that I received off Pete. So he was a big race car guy, and I have received a race car for him. So I will show you guys that when I'm at my dad's place next, because it's not currently stored here. But I've got all of the fiberglass molds to remake the body if I ever needed to. There's a bunch of stuff for MCRV, which will be in an upcoming episode, and all of the core room panels, which will be in an upcoming episode. Not anytime soon, I don't think. So what's coming up for the Chop Shop? You might be asking what videos I'm going to be doing soon. What am I going to be doing? I want to make these 2 roller doors into one big roller door. It'll be a little bit narrower than those 2, so I'll have to put in some tin on that side to bring the opening of the doorway across a little bit. Then I've got to remove the pole that is behind my head, and that's going to be really fun. So I've got a whole bunch of heavy duty metal, and the plan is to make some uprights with these big 100mm, probably 7 or 8mm thick RHS. Put those either side of the doorway, and then get a piece of I-beam or similar that's about 6 meters long and go across the top of there. Then join that to the roof so it's all nice and sturdy, and then I can use that as a gantry as well. So a lot of things coming for that door plan, but that's going to be an early next year kind of thing because it's a lot of work. So why am I talking about this, you might ask? Well, I received a free roller door. So it's about 5 meters wide and it's going to be cool. I can make that happen reasonably cheap. So that's going to be the plan for early next year. Then I'd like to do the truck tray pretty soon. So put the service body on the old truck, new truck, the Isuzu. And then the cab early next year as well. But I need to sort this bay out. I need to get that cab on. I need to get that tray on. I need to get the tray that's currently on the Isuzu off. I need to make sure the Camry works. There's just a lot going on. So that's why my videos have been more how-tos lately, because they're a little bit easier to film. Now, one thing that I didn't mention is I got a R32 floor a while ago. So these things are great for mocking up IRS and all that sort of stuff. If you do have S13 or R32 or whatever, rear subframe and arms and a diff and stuff, hit me up because I do need one. I'm tempted to put this in the K25, but I'd like to keep this and collect the parts to make it work and put it into something. Whether or not it's the K25, that doesn't really matter, but that's the plan at the moment. Just collect parts and put that aside. Then onto the toy-aways. So this thing still runs. Last time I touched it, we did the cooling system, which is pretty cool. No pun intended. But the plan with this is I need to do the shifter, I need to do the accelerator cable, and I need to mount the coolant lines to the body. So Dale, my good mate, sold me a ratchet shifter, which I may result to. I'd like to keep the stock HQ shifter that's in here, which is that guy. I'd like to keep that and make it work if I can, but if I can't make it work, I've got the ratchet shifter as a backup. So that's what you'll be seeing on this thing next, but we got to get a few other cars out of the way first. And all of this junk. I realise I've been pointing the camera at the floor for most of this video, but I just really don't want to show you that car that's over there, because that's going to be a cool video. So that's enough talking for now. I'd like to actually get some work done. So what I'm going to do is clean out this bay, get all the stuff that's on the floor out of here, sweep the leaves, which would be nice, and then get this all nice and cleaned up. Move that floor from the S13 right up the back there with the Corolla, and then I'd also like to move all of that metal into here. So obviously going to be a bit of a slow process. I won't show you guys, but this is the before, and I'll catch you up in a minute with the after. Well, that didn't take very long. It's pretty neat now, so a bit more organized, a lot more stock, which is nice. Big pile up the back. So I was going to put that 180 or S13 rear cut up here, but that's where the big stuff goes. So I'm going to probably have to put it in here and just lean it against the shelves, which is going to be annoying at some point. Or I can probably put it here, I guess. Move this stuff, put it here. So more organized, and then I've left the real heavy stuff, and I'll deal with that once we move the 180 half cut. So it's awkward to move by myself unless I put it just there. I'm not going to be able to put it anywhere, so I'll wait and decide where I'm going to put that, and then I will do it. The other thing I should mention is when I make these two doors one door, I'll have a spare pair of small doors, and I can put one of them here. So then this bay will finally be enclosed, move the motor across, and should be all sweet. So I'm pretty keen to do that. It's just going to be next year because I don't have the time right now. So the next thing I'd like to move, other than that steel, is that service tray. So how I'm going to do that, because the wheels are busted. So I think 3 out of the 4 are pretty much bent in half. That one's absolutely roasted. I think this is the only one that's reasonably good. So I need to get the trolley out from underneath the Accord and put it under this thing. So I need to get that trolley out, chuck it under there. I'll probably use the CRV or something to pull this thing out. Then I can put the CRV around the back here. This is silly. So I'm not sure what I filmed last, but this bay's reasonably clean. So I need to grab those bits of wood and jump over to a different job that I'm doing. But I also got the service box out. So I pulled it out with the Land Rover and the buggy trailer, put a big gouge in the nice rubble, and then I've also pressure washed all of this. And walking around the back, I've cleaned up a whole bunch, made it a whole lot nicer. So still need a bit more cleaning, and then I want to put the CRV Cabriolet, which is over here, put that in here, and then the Accord front cut to cover the whole thing up for a later date. So what I'm doing today involves these nice thick sheets, which I used for the shelving, actually, not these ones, and then I'm going to put them up here and cover this in. So I want to make this into a cool room at some point. I've got all the panels, and I just want to start off, and I'll use those boards and cover this in, and then I'm going to hang a bunch of number plates up there because I've got a whole bunch of spares. So I will start measuring and cutting, and I'll update you when I'm somewhere. So this is how far I have gotten. So this wheel's from Pete, that race car panel is from Pete, and then the number plates are just from my cars and a bunch of other people's cars. So I need a bunch more number plates to go on a diagonal up there, and then fill in this guy. That's about as much wood as I've got as well, so I'm gonna have to stop there. I'd like to put a window in and do the same on the other side. So I've got a bunch of repeats of these plates for the other side, but I'm gonna need a heap more and a few more trinkets. So that's all I've got done for today. All right, so we're on the cleanup path. So all of this stuff is moved. So that's all my spare tires. My hand is covering a car that you guys can't see. And then the CRV Cabriolet started straight up and drove straight over here. So no problems at all with this thing, which is great. Then behind the shed, we've got the roller door, which I put a nice big dent in. We've got the container full of containers, a spare toy stiff, the R32 floor, CRV roof. Behind that is the Dodge chassis. So it's all nice and clean back here. The car that I'm standing on is going to go over here and get tarp chucked on it. And then the Cabriolet can stay just here. Try and get the service box in here. And then I'm pretty happy and done with this for now. So it's been another afternoon or two of tidying up. Gotten this a lot better. Still obviously some rubbish to throw out. This frame is the one that was under the service box. As you can see, the wheels are really holding up well, so they need to be replaced. Shed's actually pretty tidy now, which is nice. Still a few things to tidy up, but overall everything is in place. Everything has a place, which is good. Obviously still a lot of sorting out to go as time goes on. But just little stuff, like I put a board up for the power for the shed once I get around to doing that, and just little things. So everything has a home, which is really nice. Then moving around to the side, we've got the CRV Cabriolet slightly away from the fence now, or from the shed, and then I've got the service box back in here. So this thing's super heavy and I had a whole lot of trouble. If you can see what's going on here, that's how I managed to get it in here, but that did involve bending the taillight panel, which isn't a problem because this thing has to get cut and widened and all sorts of stuff. So this will be a soon-ish job, but it currently weighs a ton and it's just a huge pain in the bum to move. So this will be coming up soon, but that's pretty much where this episode is going to finish. Need to pull the crown out and then make those into shelves, and there's just a bunch more stuff to do. So if you made it this far in this episode, thank you very much for watching. I know these kinds of videos don't really go down well with some people, but this is just life. Like, I need to have a week or two where I can shuffle stuff around and make things nice and neat. It makes the next episode a whole lot easier, just in general. Like the next thing I'm going to do, the next task I need to tackle, if all the tools are put away, all of the stuff is moved and organized, it just makes everything a whole lot easier. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.